All right, gang, what we're now going to look at is segment reporting. Segment reporting is a very important aspect of SEC filings. And in this case, we have to break out any segment which is 10% or more. 10% of your sales, 10% of your profit, 10% of your assets. And if it is 10%, you show it separately, and you must aggregate them so that the total breakout at least exceeds 75%. When you do this, you look at intercompany transactions as being included in the determination of whether it meets the 10% test. Don't exclude intercompany. Make sure they're included in the process. What we want to do at this point is we want to take a look at the images of the VF Corporation financial statements. And what we're going to do is we're going to walk through some various information. Now, first of all, you'll notice that we have the consolidated financials. And total revenue in this particular illustration happens to be $12,376,744. That's obviously a marker for us, right? That's going to be one of the markers. And it says segment income, if we scroll down a little bit further, is $1,580,389. So those are items that we are going to utilize in making an assessment as to the 10% test. When we look down, we can take a look at note letter P, and it describes the segment information of FV Corporation. It has groups in its segment, and there are 5 separate. And this is coalitions, and the remainder of the groups as other. So VF evaluates operating performance based on the collation, revenues, and profits, is what they're telling us right here. In addition, as we scroll down, we can see that we now sit there and we have outdoor and action sports and jeanswear may be the primary segment that it meets the 10% threshold test for revenue, profits, and assets. But VF has chosen to disclose the remaining segments that management tracks, such as imagewear, sportswear, and contemporary brands. The 10% threshold would be the minimum disclosure requirements. Note that the $12,376,744 of total revenue and $1,580,389 of income before taxes tie into the income statement. Assets by segment must also be disclosed in addition to the revenues and the ultimate profits. Finally, we also look at some additional comments here. VF also reported segment information based on geography. Note that the total revenues ties to the income and revenues by segment disclosures. So we want to be aware that they also broke it out geographically. This was to help readers to understand how things were done.